funding, fixing, and flipping property. You can flip it to a tenant or a buyer. But if you don't master those 4 F's, I call the power of 4, you'll be stuck. You'll be stopping and starting your business over the long haul. So Blaine, let's quickly run down kind of the last month of activities, and then we'll get right into the deal.
So the last month of activities, I've gotten 1 property under contract. That's the property we're going to talk about now. In a private placement memorandum that's raised about $100,000 to use as a fund to flip property and to flip houses with. I'm actually looking for more money right now. If any of you would like to talk about opportunities afterwards, I have some great opportunities to put money to work for yourself.
Okay, so this property, you said condo conversion, wholesale deal. You've been working on it since August of last year.
Yes, correct.
And you received it from one of your mailers?
Yeah, the seller called me from a mailer that I sent out in August, and she's like, they're going through some family problems with a tenant, and just give her some time, and she'll reach out to me when they're ready. So I put it on my calendar. I call her about once a month just to check in with her. And then in February, she said that she was having some movement. And then in March, she called and was like, hey, I think we're ready to entertain offers. So she set up an open house, came by and took a look. I called her the next day and thanked her for the opportunity to look at the house. And it turns out like that's what the difference was to me getting the house under contract. So
let's talk the numbers. And so this property, you actually, you were asking 6 1/4. Did you get it? Did you get the 6 1/4?
So, so it's under contract for $625. I had an offer a little bit higher than $625, but I went with $625 because the person that I was signing with felt really good about. I know him from here. He's a good guy. And I knew that he'd be able to perform. Sometimes people go under contract with you and they try to beat you down when it's getting close to the settlement date. I didn't think that he'd be one to do that. And also, I had to ask him for a favor, and I knew that he would accept the favor. So I'm having someone shadow him just to learn the ropes on how to do a conversion. And so I left a little bit of money on the table, but just for the ease of this deal, I was happy to just sell it for a little bit less.
Okay, so what do you think it'll exit for? So you got under contract for $625. I think the repairs are roughly $500,000. What do you think it'll exit for? Roughly?
So it depends. Right across the street, 4201 through 4207 8th Street were both. So that's four addresses. They were both broken down into 2-unit properties. Those are selling at 1.6, and they've been on the market for 12 days and under. Before 6 of the 8 are already under contract, and one of them's already sold. It's sold for like $35,000 over ask. And I say it varies because I think that if the developer would like, they'd be able to do a 1 seller unit, 1 unit on the first floor, and then do a penthouse double-decker unit. So they might be able to do 3 units. A realtor,
which is almost a challenge with ARVs and conversions because you never know,
what they want to
do, what they're going to apply for, permits for. So it's kind of a blank canvas to the rehabber and developer. So it's hard sometimes for you to nail down what the ARV is going to be.
And it's a desirable deal because there's only neighbors on one side, and with condo conversions, that's big because you only have to underpin one side, you only have to get one side to sign off on all the nonsense, and you only have to build one extra deck or whatever they gotta try to swindle out of you.
So let's blaze through the major challenge and the solution that you face in this particular deal.
So there was a challenge getting it under contract, even though the seller told me that she was going to go with me the next day. Family members get involved, and an attorney gets involved, and everything's better when there's not an attorney involved, in my opinion. Attorneys kind of are a pain, but when I said there was a favor that I had to have the buyer agree to, was because another investor and I figured out we're going after the same property. And he was under the impression that he was going to be getting it. I was like, like I spoke with her. She said that I was getting it. And we kind of worked together where he didn't want to get in a bidding war, and the bidding war doesn't help either of us. So I was going to set the deal up where he was going to be able to shadow it. So he went in, and he had rapport with the person. I was dealing with the sister. He was dealing with the brother. I think the sister held more sway. But he went in and talked to the brother about how you need to go with a solid person that's going to perform. There's a lot of dynamics involved, so especially with the attorney. So I just talked up how mine was a cash offer. I have a bank account that had the cash in it, like my business account had the money ready to go. Just showing them that whenever there's a hard money lender, like people can say all day, "Oh, I'm a cash buyer," but if they're getting hard money, there's an appraisal, there's underwriting, they can come back lower. Like you can say you're cash, but you're really not. So I try to drive that point home as much as I could, and I had my Capital One account that had the funds in it that I sent them the statement of from the February statement, and then the investor that I kind of partnered with, he went in and drove home the same kind of themes, that hard money, unless you can really verify that they're not trying to gather funds to pay for the hard money, that it might not be a real offer.
So I guess in summary, that was kind of a collaboration between you and one of the other Mastermind members in terms of closing the deal.
Correct. And
then you wound up flipping it to another Mastermind member who's going to actually take it from purchase all the way through the condo conversion.
Correct. So it was really heavily involved in the Mastermind group. And if I wasn't part of the Mastermind group, then I would not have known that this other investor, who's a solid investor, him and I would have just been undercutting one another and bidding up the price, because it seemed like we were the last two people that were involved.
All right, Blaine. So appreciate it, man. Any questions for Blaine while I pull up the other Mastermind case study? Any other questions for Blaine? Right here.
We're talking about a deal that we were both working on. Kind of came up.
Totally random.
But it's a win-win, because I'm also going to compensate him, and I'm also giving him what he wanted from the deal anyway. It wasn't really going to work for him with where the prices ended up being for what he wanted to do, but it worked well that we were able to teamwork.
All right, thanks, Blaine. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to bring up Shakita and Sekou for this last